Hey guys, Neil Mack here. Today we're going to talk about being strategic and effective. I certainly never want to come across as an old curmudgeon, but there are two words that I've kind of tried to erase from my vocabulary. The first one is balance. The second one is efficiency. I've kind of started to detest both balance and efficiency. Here's what I mean. If you're talking to a guy that's trying to walk across the Grand Canyon on a tightrope, he's going to need some balance. But that's not real life. Real life is more about doing the things that you want to do, even doing the things that you must do so that you can get back to the things that you really want to do. That's strategic. The other word is efficiency. I've kind of grown to be repulsed by the word efficiency. And hear me out. I think back in the day, McDonald's had this little tagline on the bottom of their signs that said 4 billion served. And I don't recall if that meant every day or if it meant just in general. You know, they're very efficient at what they do. They make some cheeseburgers so fast, so efficient. They got 2 lines now. You can order from the app. It's all about cranking out those cheeseburgers. And I'm not throwing shade on McDonald's because I can throw down some McDonald's cheeseburgers. But their model is about efficiency. It's about cranking out. It's about units. It's about volume. Our lives don't have to be about that. I replace the word efficiency with effectiveness. I replace the word balance with strategy and efficiency with effectiveness. And what do you mean and why does that even matter? For the past 25 years, I've worked really hard to understand and apply the principles of time management to my life, to my career, to my education, to my church life, and to my family. I've been invited to Cancun to teach executives time management skills. I've been invited to Monaco to teach top sales leaders. There are a million time management resources out there in the marketplace. What I've found is many of them, they work like a college textbook. You have to do mental backflips to even understand and get your mind around the principles and practices. The fact is, time management is actually a misnomer. You can't manage time in real life. In an athletic event, you can call timeout, the clock stops. If there's an injury, the clock stops. If the ball goes out of bounds, oftentimes the clock stops. And in basketball, the last few minutes of the game can come at a snail's pace because there's a foul, there's a timeout, there's all these ways to stop the clock to try to give the team members more time to think and strategize and execute. But life just keeps on ticking. So I would present to you that time management is actually a misnomer. It's really about life management. And again, there are a million resources out there and they're all awesome. We need more skills, not less. So I'm not discouraging you from adopting any other practice that you might find out there in the world. But since life does come at you fast, I've decided that I want to work on 3 specific things in order for me to manage myself in the allotted time that I have. Put another way, I want to bring my tomorrows into today so I can do something about it now. So 3 things that can help you be less balanced, more strategic, less efficient, more effective. The first thing is this: you've got to have written goals. Brian Tracy quotes a study that 97% of the world's population don't have any written goals, while the 3% that do have written goals accomplish up to 10 times more than those that don't. There's a lot of information out on the internet that shows that maybe that study never even existed. I don't know if it did or it didn't. I don't know if the number is 97% versus 3%. There's one thing though that I've learned without a doubt. You will accomplish more and be more effective if you have written goals. To quote one of my time management mentors, David Allen, your mind is a wonderful place for having ideas. It's a terrible place for holding ideas. You've got to get your goals written down on paper if you want to be strategic and if you want to be effective. Okay, so we have our goal writing session done. Our goals are down on paper. Now we know what we want to accomplish. You've probably heard something called the Pareto principle. It comes from a gentleman named Wilfredo Pareto. He noticed in his garden that 80% of the productivity came from 20% of the plants. So therefore the 80-20 rule. You've heard this probably a million times, that 80% of the sales come from 20% of your customer base. If you go into a grocery store, 80% of that grocery store's revenue comes from 20% of the SKUs on the shelf. If you go to a library, 80% of the circulation of the books checked out come from 20% of the titles. The numbers aren't always specific to the decimal point, 80%, 20%. Sometimes I've noticed 75-15. Other times I've noticed 90-10. The idea, though, is that if you have a list of things to do to accomplish your written goal, for example, you have 10 items that must be done to accomplish the goal, the Pareto principle has been proven that 80% of that list will come from 2 items. And so that principle just plays out every day, all day in our lives. Busyness is the enemy of effectiveness. Busyness is efficiency, and efficiency is busyness. We think in our minds, okay, I have my written goals and I have a task list of 10 or 20 items on this list, and I've got to do everything because we get an endorphin rush when we click things off the list. But what often happens is not everything on our list is of equal value. So we have to learn to prioritize and only do the things that will move our goal forward, and try to resist the urge to do the other easy things to get that endorphin rush, easy things that don't really require a lot of muscle memory or brain power or effort. Those are the things that we just tend to just get up and do every day. Mark Twain said it like this: if you get up every morning and eat a big fat bullfrog, you'll have the satisfaction of knowing that you've already done the very worst thing that will ever happen to you all day long. And that's where Brian Tracy got the book title, Eat That Frog. The idea is probably on a list of 10 things, 1 or 2 of those things will really move the meter on your goal. So practice setting goals and practice thinking through this 80-20 process. Do the 20% of things that get you 80% the way there on your goal. That's how you become effective and turn away from just simple efficiency. So now that you've pared down all the things that you have to do, you've got your goal and you're thinking through this 80-20 model, you'll still have a long list of things to do. And so what do I do with the rest of my list? I've picked the number 1 and number 2 things and prioritized those, thinking through the 80-20 process, but I still have other things on the list, and all day long, I've got more things being added to that list. I'm so glad you asked that question. There's something that comes from the Franklin Covey method. And again, none of these concepts that I'm sharing with you today are new, by the way, but these are time-tested and have been used by an enormous amount of professionals all across the world for many, many years. And I can tell you as a personal testimony, they've completely changed my life. This next method is called the ABCDE method. That means that if there are things on your list and you know that it just must be done today, you want to put an A next to those things. And then if there are things on your list that maybe it would be very nice to get those things done today, but not quite the end of the world, you're going to put a B next to those. And then so forth and so on as you work your way through the list. A must be done today. B, I would love to get it done today, but if not, that's fine. C are things that you probably want to just go ahead and procrastinate because it's not part of the 80-20 yet. D means you're just going to delegate those things altogether. Those are the things that you're just going to ask somebody else to do and pawn those off on someone else. You want to focus on the tasks that only you can do. And the other things that you can kind of farm out, those are going to get delegated. So you put a D next to those items. And the E is my favorite one of all. That means eliminate, eliminate, eliminate. Don't do it at all. Now, again, I know that we're all task-oriented. I know that we get an endorphin hit when we get our things done on our list. But I would propose to you, if you took a deep dive and did a true and honest analysis of all that you do all day long, there are a number of items that can wait till tomorrow. There are a number of items that you could delegate or just simply ask a favor of someone else to do for you. And there's an enormous number of items that you should probably just eliminate altogether, because those are the things that are making you think that you're balanced, but you're really just being efficient and getting a bunch of things done. You're just being busy and maybe not quite moving the meter, maybe not quite being effective. Fam, look for my email in the description. Send me a message. I'll send you the time management toolbox anywhere in the continental United States for $20. If you'd prefer the audio, I'll include the audio with the hard copy. If you don't want the hard copy, you'd rather just have a PDF, I'll send the PDF and the audio for $10 anywhere in the world. Email in the description, hit me up. Listen, let's do this together. Let's abolish balance and efficiency from our vocabulary. Let's be strategic and effective. God bless you all.